Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for joining the second episode of Loud Women Talking, where we just get to chat about whatever we want to talk about and hopefully provide some interesting content and inspire other women that might be slightly earlier on in their journey running a business. So, do you want to just give us a quick intro as to who you are?
Oh, yeah. So, Michelle Hartley, founder of Awesome, Chief Geek Officer, and General All Round Entertainer on LinkedIn. My business is called People Sorted. People normally know me as the brightly coloured HR woman. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I basically turn HR teams from beige to brilliant.
I love that. HR has a reputation for being a little bit beige, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
And here you come
yes,
with your rainbows and your trademark red lipstick and your throwing things in the bin and just shaking.
yes. Yes, exactly that. Yeah, I just don't when I was, like, starting out in HR, I just saw all these boring people around me and thought that's what I had to become, and then it's only in the last couple of years I'm like, "Do you know what? No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm gonna be me." So here I am.
Here you are. And you don't just run People Sorted, do you? You have three businesses on the go.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Please tell me that you get help with some of them so I don't feel
No,
completely inadequate. You just do all of it
no.
100% on your own.
Yeah, so so I do have like wonderful people that help me. So I do have my VA Michelle, who is amazing. I have great friends who will help me out and do good stuff. I do have associates that come and help me with like training delivery sometimes, but broadly, it is I. So People Sorted is the main biz, and then I've got Find Your Awesome Business Partner Program and the HR Geek Squad, which is the HR community side of things. So yeah, three little things I'm known for, I guess. Shouldn't say little, should I? Three huge,
Yeah,
amazing things.
they are huge. Honestly, I hear so many people talking about the HR meetup that you do because
Ah, the big
you
me.
do it,
Yeah,
don't you?
that is Emma Jamil's amazing invention, and I just hop on as a delegate. But yes, it is amazing, and I do love it. It is the most amazing meeting I've ever been to. It's not even I can't even call it a conference because it's
Yeah.
not. It's so much more than that. It's brilliant.
So we met, and we were obviously both in the Holt together, Leah Turner's Holt.
Mm,
We met a couple of months ago because I was doing some research into the corporate hangover. So I was chatting to women who had left corporate. There were quite big deals in corporate and had left to start their own business. And I wanted to know about your experience. And you were so generous with your time. So that kind of decided the topic today. So let's talk a little bit about that transition. Tell me a little bit about how the business got started and what kind of sparked. There's never just one thing, but what sparked that decision to say, I'm leaving corporate behind and it's all about me and my business from now on?
yeah, it's such a good question because I always call myself like an accidental entrepreneur because I kind of never really wanted to do it, which is weird, isn't it? But I'd done the corporate thing, loved my corporate life until I burned out, and so had the most horrendous time hitting burnout, which is a proper like life and game changer. And so I went back to work after burnout, and I went back to my corporate job, and it just felt hollow, I suppose. It just suddenly felt like, hang on a minute, I broke my brain for this place, and now it doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore. Like it's a really weird space to be in. So people always laugh when I say this. In 2020, January, I handed him a notice. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then and then this weird little thing happened called COVID. And then what
just a little
happened
thing.
was,
Yeah,
yeah, just a
just a weird
tiny
type
mere
flip.
a
Yeah.
blip on the radar. So I couldn't leave. So my inner HR professional, who sometimes does exist in my world, um, she wouldn't let me leave without. I couldn't leave the company in this scenario with no HR support because if you remember, HR really were at the forefront of all the COVID stuff in organisations because we were the ones interpreting the law, working
Yeah,
out whether we had key workers or not, doing all of that legislation, the
yeah,
medication, like the medical side of things, the counselling side of things. You know, we had employees in Italy to bring back and stuff like that. So we were in a really weird place, and so I couldn't leave them basically. So I stayed on much longer, and I stayed until almost the end of June that year. So you can imagine like how wrung out I was by then. having like recovered from burnout and then basically did it all over again, but with a COVID flavour. So I'd finished in the June. I then just took some time. I did some family stuff, so I was with my family, but took some family stuff, and then I always am known for a Christmas think. So I had a Christmas think in December 2020, and my Christmas think was maybe there's just something else. Like maybe there's something else I can do. Maybe I could work for myself. Like maybe this is a thing. And initially, I went to work with another consultant and spent some time in her biz, but my biz had already started, so I kind of started them both at the same time. And it just kind of took off from there. I think the phrase I might have used with you is I just followed the joy. Like I'd spent
Yeah.
so long being like burned out, unhappy, ground down by the corporate meat grinder. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to follow the stuff that I love, and that's how I've ended up here. I love it. I love bringing the happy. I love bringing the joy. I love dopamine dressing. Like I love everything. And you know what's hard now, and I wonder if you find the same, is how do you decide what not to do when you love everything that you do? Like that is now my challenge that I never
Yeah.
thought would be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, how do I decide what to do now?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see Simon's here. Hi, Simon. I said hello in the chat. Hi, Simon.
Hi, Simon.
I met Simon for the first time today as well, so he's here. I
Oh,
love that.
lovely. You
Yeah.
brought him with you. Thanks, Michelle.
Yes, I brought a friend.
Yeah. I know. Do you know what? I know exactly what you mean. The definitely the first year of my business, not so much, because
Mm,
I launched my business and I decided just to sell my time doing what I'd been doing in corporate, and of
yes.
course,
Yep.
I was just miserable and I hated every second of it.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm at that point now where there's so many things that I want to. There's just not enough hours in the day,
Yeah.
especially when you throw in stuff like this that I love doing. I've got
Yeah.
3 different books that I've started writing. And,
Ooh.
I mean, literally just started writing, like maybe there's a few chapters or a whole book outline. And there's just so many things that I love about what I do, that my problem is sticking putting enough time,
Mm.
because I'll get really excited and I do all the fun bits, and then it's like, no, you've got to do all of the stuff around it and the admin and the planning and the
Yeah.
strategy and stuff. And I go, no, I just want to do it. I just want to jump in. I just want to do it.
Just want to do the thing.
Just
Yeah.
do the thing. I want the thing to be built and ready and out there and done. And I don't want to do all the stuff I
Yes.
have to get there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've never been. I don't think I've ever been this excited about any of my previous jobs. Sorry, guys. If anyone,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never
Sorry,
felt
ex-employers.
fulfilled. Yeah. I was good at it. I did a good job and I was enthusiastic, but yeah, nothing compares to this feeling.
No, I agree. It's a totally different place, isn't it? And there's
Yeah.
also like a totally different level of pride when you've like invented something and somebody likes it. Like, have you found that where you're like, oh my God, I made that and somebody's like wearing it or somebody really loves it or
Yeah.
somebody's posted about it. Like, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. And it's like tiny little things. Like say it could be one person just saying they love it. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so proud. And I look back and I think
Yes.
I would have gotten huge results for a client and I still would have been like, oh, well, that's good. Whereas
Oh, well, next thing. Yeah.
something teeny tiny happens. And I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
somebody joins one of my LinkedIn lives. And I'm like, oh my God, they actually want to listen. Yeah. That feeling of
Thanks,
pride.
Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Actually, oh, we've got 9. We've got 9
Ooh.
people. Oh,
Ooh,
check us
I
out.
love this.
Ooh la la. Thanks everyone. Welcome. If you want to drop some questions and stuff into the comments, we've got a little bit of time at the end, but I'm keeping a little eye anyway. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, so actually talking about your brand of HR, it's gorgeous. Um, it's so bright and colourful, and I'm sure you won't take this the wrong way when I say that's not really what we normally associate with HR, which I think is
Yes.
why it's so compelling.
Yes.
Was this you right off the bat when you started your business, or did it take you a little while to find this kind of bring out your alter ego, or maybe not your
Yeah.
alter ego, your true self?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point because I think when I started my biz, I was still well, the corporate hangover. I was still in that like corporate hangover space where I was like a bit like you said, where I'm just going to sell stuff that I did before and that'll be okay. Like so it was almost like I'm just going to be the same person, just sell stuff instead of getting a wage. And then it only started to happen for me when I started to deliver training and I was like, "Oh my word, I found my thing." Like it was genuinely like a light had come down from the sky like, "Oh." And then I realized, oh wow, I'm being myself in front of this audience of people, and they really like it, and I really like it, and I'm not killing myself putting on this weird HR mask. Like, and so it probably took about, I don't know, 8 months to fully like embrace the full Michelle. But yeah, it's been most of my business life has been me being the brightly coloured, ridiculous me that you see before you today.
That's good. So it wasn't really that much of a change for you coming out into,
No, I mean, yeah, it was from corporate, like from
yeah,
corporate, huge change. But
yeah.
for the me that I always knew was inside, no change. It just I basically just matched the outside to the inside. I think when I started my biz, and that's what made the difference. Is
Yeah,
it's out there and it's real.
it's, do you know what, it's something that we don't often talk about, as or we don't see people talking about quite as much, is this idea that, we talk, anyone that's running a business or trying to run a business will hear all this, like tap into your purpose and your why and talk about what you're passionate about,
Mm,
and it's this idea that we're going to create this thing, that's going to speak to who we are. But what I found was it was the most incredible journey of self-discovery and falling
yes.
in, and sort of cutting away all of the things that I'd created around myself to fit into the past life, um, and bringing back all the pieces that I'd hidden away, that I've been told weren't
Yeah.
great in that space, that I was kind of loud and passionate and opinionated and a little bit obstinate and a little bit, tiny bit competitive.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love to laugh and be silly and joke around and make innuendos, and I'm just, absolutely 100% for the, well timed, that's what she said, and that's who I am. I love it. I get, I remember sitting in a meeting once, and our finance director was trying to talk us through all the terms that we needed to know because we managed P&Ls. As soon as he started talking about double entry, I'm there in the corner, like just wetting myself, and it's so unprofessional because I'm a leader, um, and actually
I
that's
love that so much.
it's not that's not who I am. And so
Yeah.
this idea of actually getting back in touch with exactly who I am. I remember, my first few networking events, I'd go in a suit. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that now. But yeah, this idea that I
Mm,
can just show up as I am, and actually all the parts that I'd been told were not good and I should bury,
yeah.
actually now become the things that my clients love the most about me. And
Yes.
that is an amazing feeling when you know you
Yeah.
can just rock up, be yourself, don't have to think about it, don't have to put on a persona, don't have to watch what you say. And there's an acceptance there, and there's people that go, yeah, yeah, bring it on. I want more.
Yeah.
That's an incredible feeling. I'd never go back,
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't think I'm employable now. Like
Yeah, I
that
can
whole, like you
imagine.
said, like the well timed. That's what she said. That's literally my life. Like
Yeah,
so, I don't think anyone would have me now. To be honest.
no, I don't. Yeah, I think I maybe last a day. I'd be fine. I'm
Yeah.
taking this crap.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's unemployable, which is good because I don't think I want to go back ever.
No.
Um,
No. Yeah, I wouldn't want to, but they wouldn't have me either. Like
no, and that's
it's
good.
a mutual no.
It is, yeah, it's a mutual hell no, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe there's some people I used to work with might be watching this. I loved you guys. I love the people I work with. All of them. They're amazing.
I love that you're like slowly backpedaling. Like oh.
Just in case. I'm sure they don't care. And things
No.
are, it's, for you guys, it's working though, because you've been running the business for what, three and a bit years, and
Yeah.
you have over 20,000 followers on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah. That's the bit that freaks me out, is, when I started so literally as I left corporate, I had 585 followers, and I thought I was the shit, and it was only when I started, like, hanging out with other people that were doing what I wanted to do, like consultants and,
yeah,
people that were influencers and stuff like that, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm embarrassed, like, this is really bad." And then as I started to be more me online, it just ticked up really quickly. Like it just whizzed by. And if you'd have said to Michelle in 2021, you're going to have 20,000 followers in a few short years' time, I never would have believed it. Like I still can't believe it. It's weird. I get into this space where like people recognize me in random places, and I'm like, oh. that's a bit weird. Like, I'm the person that spills dinner down their top every day. Like, it's weird that you know me.
There's just no more fucking up in private anymore. It just isn't out there.
Yes,
It's public.
exactly.
Yeah,
Which is where the bin came from, right? The bin is my personal level of F ups every week. Like, that's the goal. So I
yeah.
just share it all. Why not?
And I think this last week was a doozy, hence the Taylor Swift theme
Oh,
for today. That one was a
mm.
doozy. But I love the fact that you just came. I think there's something very just honest and authentic about coming out and going, "I'm human and I fucked up and I fucked up big time."
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. If
Yeah,
anyone
it
doesn't
definitely
know,
appeals.
yeah, if
Go
anyone
on.
doesn't know the story, do you want to just give us a quick recap?
I mean, I'd love to share my shame all over
Yeah.
again. Thanks for the opportunity.
We have to let people
So,
know that you're human because otherwise they might think you're a superwoman. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, like
I'll
off
let
of
them know.
spilling dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, make them all feel
So
better about
I,
us, all feel better about ourselves. Yes.
yeah. So I'd booked with friends Taylor Swift tickets. My friend had got us on the like wait list. It was going to be awesome. We booked the tickets yonks ago.
Hmm.
In my diary, all dropped in, everything good. My job as part of this friendship group was to organise a transport. So I was like, cool, I'm going to get us a limo. This is going to be amaze balls. So arranged the limo, got everything sorted, arranged the timings, text the team, and was like, this is what we're doing. This is the time. Blah blah blah. It was only when one of them said, um, I've got a school run, so I can't leave, before 4:30. So I'd initially booked the time for 4. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll change the time, change the time. It was only midnight that night when I'd fallen asleep and I woke up and I went, why should I do a school run on a Saturday? Like, didn't even cross my mind that I might have messed this up, right? So I was like, why is she doing a school run on a Saturday? And then it kicked in, and I was like, oh my god, maybe Taylor Swift is on a Friday. So I messaged the group. I think it was about 20 past midnight saying, I've just woken up. I think I've really fucked this up. Like, oh my God, this is what I've done. And they didn't reply, obviously, because it was midnight. So all night I was like sweating on it, like, anyway, next day, turns out I had booked it not only for the wrong time, but also for the wrong day.
Oh,
That in itself was bad enough. And then I double booked myself because I thought it was on the Saturday. So I booked myself on the Friday to Kelly Swinger's Power Up, which was amazing, but in Peterborough. And as much as I am a superhuman,
no.
I couldn't get from Peterborough to Liverpool in less than 2 hours. So no Taylor Swift for me.
Oh no. Did your friends still go? Did they go without you?
Yes,
It's really bad.
yes.
I don't know if that's better or worse. At least you didn't make them miss out, but then they all went.
They went without me in the limo
Oh,
without me.
oh.
Boo.
Did you?
And not only that, I also had the extra pain of having to pay an admin fee to the limo company because I'd messed up the day. So not only could I not go, not only was it the wrong time, I also had to pay for the privilege. So happy days.
Oh no.
So yeah, when I do mess up, it is pretty good to be fair.
Oh, do you know what? I think I'd have cried for a whole week.
I cried for a whole day.
Yeah.
Like that entire day, I was just crying because I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even see a way out of this.
No.
And I think the worst thing was like the day before, I'd posted my little neon light up Taylor Swift cowboy hat, and so everybody online was also
Everyone
like,
knew.
"Oh, amazing! Have a great time at Taylor." And I was like, "I'm not going to Taylor."
Oh no.
So yeah, that was the first time I put myself into the bin. So there we
Yeah.
go.
How did you, how did that start? When was the first time you did the get in the bin? Because it's a
Ooh, it's
staple of
quite
my
a long
week now.
time
It's a
ago.
staple of my week. I want to
So
see.
many people say that to
Yeah.
me, like they need to see the bin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some video coaching with the wonderful Harrison Cantel because I was petrified of videos. Even though I recorded myself doing Zooms and training and stuff, I was petrified of like video on like socials. So I had some coaching with him. And when we were talking about like content ideas, I said to him, do you know what I really want to do? Is I want to put a load of dickheads in the bin. And my first bin episode was Lord Sugar. It was Lord Sugar, Elon Musk, and someone else, 3 people. Can't remember the other one now. That's bad, isn't it?
I mean, they're both
It wasn't Jeremy. Yeah, yeah. Their bin has never been like rescinded. They're still in there.
funny.
Um, and so that was my first bin video, and I thought I'm just going to do it as a bit of a laugh because Harrison had said you've got to do a video a day for 30 days, and I was like, oh my word, right? Well, I've got to do the bin because that's an idea, and it'll just happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and then as I did it, people were like, oh my god, what are you going to bin next week? I was like, oh, I didn't really think it was going to be a feature. Okay, so then I did the next one, and now it's just become this feast that everybody loves on a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, I'm not going to ask you what's going in the bin tomorrow. But
You'll enjoy it though.
if everything that you've ever put in the bin, what's your number one you would absolutely bin again 100 times over? What's the number one thing
Jeremy
that you put in the
Clarkson.
bin? Jeremy.
Jeremy Clarkson, all day long. He gets binned every week for a reason.
Yes.
I I don't. Do you know what? That's a really good question because everything I bin, I like fervently believe belongs in the bin. So
Yeah.
there, I don't know if I'd have like a favorite binning thing. I did enjoy the Texas binning because obviously that was the when we were in Texas. I binned mozzies that bite you on the bum, but actually it turns out it wasn't a mozzie; it was a scorpion. So
Yes.
that was good. That was a good one. I feel like that can happen again. Like that's Michelle being relatable, right?
Yeah. You put it on the
So yeah,
bubble.
they can definitely be binned again. Yeah.
Brilliant. Um, so was obviously one of the things um, that you bring to your audience is this kind of new perspective. But I imagine so. One of the things that really kind of boils my blood a little bit is the amount of just absolutely shockingly bad advice that I see online from experts.
Yeah.
That especially for new business owners, that it's just awful. It's just terrible. So part of what I try and do is make it really simple for people and break it down and help them to make the right decision for their business, and not just follow a bunch of really bad advice. But I imagine you must get that all day, every day as well.
In HR, do you know what? In HR, it's the worst. I call it pub HR advice. So there's, someone's mate's dog's uncle's wife has worked in HR, and so they're like, "You want to do this, mate?" And then they come to some kind of hearing or disciplinary or an event with me, and they're like, and I'm like, "No, no, why would you do that?" Like, it's just the weirdest scenario where you don't seem to get it in any other professions actually, but like HR, you tend to get a lot of like pub HR experts that I just find is the weirdest scenario ever.
Yeah.
So yes, lots of that in HR. Lots of weird business life advice in terms of like when you start out your biz, there's always someone who wants to like prey on you as a new business or startup business.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, in all the companies I've worked in, there's always been somebody that knows somebody in HR, and yeah, and just they will just come in and go, "It's this or it's this," and you see it on social media as well. Like you say, everyone's, every man and his dog comments with their opinion of how it's supposed to be,
Yeah,
and I think a lot of I've definitely worked in organisations where HR has been as it should be, the heart of the organisation. But I've
yeah.
also worked places where they're kind of treated like the police. And they're, and like,
Mhm.
we don't tell HR because, they'll just make a big drama out of it, or they'll just do this, or everyone goes quiet when they walk in the room. Or it's like, you're in trouble if HR's in, and you think, gee.
Yes. Yes, and do you know what? That's the hardest bit about being in HR is that perception because
Mm,
people either think you're like the angel of death, that you're the police, that you're gonna like dob people in for doing something bad, that you can't enjoy a joke. Like the worst thing as an HR person, which every HR person will eye roll at, is that one manager that goes, "Oh, stand by your beds, HR's here,"
yeah.
and every HR person just goes, "Cool, thanks." Like, that's really funny, I've never heard that before. Yeah, so there's, like, this perception of HR that I just think is hilarious, and actually and I was saying this to Simon today, funnily enough, like, HR is the best profession ever for, like, heckles, banter, inappropriate behavior, like, hilarity. Like, you cannot get better than an HR person for that if you
Yeah.
let them. Like, the point is organizations don't let them be normal human beings, and
Yeah.
so that's why I love it when you have, like, an HR meeting or an HR night out, like, oh my word, that's where the party's at,
Yeah.
always.
Do you think that's a kind of an antidote to the level of, because you guys, you do have to deal with all of the really serious stuff, and
Yes.
not just in terms of behavioral stuff, but incidents reporting, and people's personal issues, people that have, relatives that die, or worse, you that point person for so much heavy stuff, as well as all of
Mhm.
the light fun stuff and the staff engagement and learning and development and everything. But
Yeah.
do you, because you often see that in other professions where there's a lot of that heaviness, that actually it's that antidote to, to have fun and be inappropriate and say, things that other people will go, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that.
Yeah.
It's like you
You've
have
got to
to.
let off steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have a little safe space as your, like, steam valve, and when I was in corporate, that was always my office. Like, I'd always say to my team, "If you need to come in and have a rant, or you need to come in and take the mickey, like, this is the space to come and do it. Like,
Yeah.
come in here, be safe." And some of my so some employees used to sit outside my office that weren't in HR, and they've left the company now, but they message me regularly. They're like, "Oh, I really miss your swear fests on a Monday morning." 'Cause I'm in there like, like, just letting it all out, and then walk out like this professional swan that I was. But yeah, it's that kind of, no other job do you get like an employee suicide, skid marks in the toilet,
Yes.
and sandwiches being too dry all in one day. Like, you don't, that is literally what happens in HR. And
Yeah.
like, we laugh about it, but where, like, what other job do you get that range of like ridiculousness in one day? You don't. It's just carnage.
Yeah.
It is carnage.
It was actually most of the place I've worked in, the HR office was one of my favourite places to go. Especially my last organisation, the last sort of employment that I had. The HR team there were brilliant, and they had a dog sometimes. So I always found it
Oh,
go into the office and just hang out with them all because they were brilliant company.
I love that. I
And as
love
a
that.
manager as well, it's like you can't complain too much to your team or to other managers. So that was kind of my safe space to go in and be like, oh my God, I want to throttle someone.
Yes.
Something.
But you know what? That's how it should be. Like,
Yeah,
HR should be a safe space for managers, but so many people don't do it, or they
yeah,
do it when it's too late. And I'm like, I can't help you. Like, this, it's gone too far. Whereas if it's someone like you that just comes in and is like, oh, I'm gonna have a rant about this. I'm like, cool. Now I know about it. I might be able to help you. And also, like, let's go and have a cup of tea. Like, there's that principle of just making it
yeah,
like so much better when I know about it in advance. And
yeah,
making HR your friend is the way to be.
yeah, 100%. Yes, that absolutely should be your friend, especially if you're a
Defo.
manager. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's been your? Are there any sort of standout moments over the last 3 years that you look back on and think that was like, whether it was launching something, being recognized for something, or working with a particular organization? Is there anything you look back on and you think that was absolutely bloody amazing?
Oh, yeah. So there's a couple. One is I got an award, which is a picture of me holding it there. I got an award for being HR's most inspirational as voted by my peers, which was amazing. So
Oh,
that was
so
very cool.
cool.
That's my HR Indies award. And the other one is in that pink frame there, which was one of the attendees of the HR Big Meet for the first year. So Emma's set up. I was a speaker, and I brought my bin, and I was binning stuff because that's what I was known for. And I'd forgotten to bring Jeremy Clarkson, so I didn't have Nobosaurus, and so the audience was literally screaming at me, "Nobosaurus, where's Jeremy Clarkson?" And I was literally like, you think I'm hamming this up? I haven't brought Jeremy Clarkson. Like, I haven't, this isn't a thing on the stage. So in the end, I just stood there and was like, anyone got a dinosaur? And this woman drew me a dinosaur to bin that was Jeremy Clarkson and brought it up to the stage. So that's my progress, not perfection dinosaur. So
Do
yeah.
you know what that must be? Like when singers get up on stage, and they perform, and everyone in the audience is like singing their song back to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" It must feel like that. If someone says like they know your thing, they're demanding it, and they go, "We know you.
Yeah.
We want to get in the bin." Is
It was so funny. It was
that like, "Oh,
definitely
I've
one
made
of
it"?
those like, oh my God moments. It was brilliant. It was
Yeah,
very, very good. So yeah, that was quite cool.
yeah. And the awards are like getting an award that is voted for by your peers. That's really special because there's so many. I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but the whole awards thing I find a little bit, because you have to nominate yourself, you have to pay to enter, and it just feels like a bit
Yes.
of a kind of popularity contest. It,
Yeah.
and then you get to shout about it all over social media and go, "Oh, I won this award," and it's like the one
Yeah.
you paid to enter and do all the work for it.
Yeah,
Just
that you put in your own nomination for, cool.
yeah, I think when you get something that's you've been nominated and voted for by your peers, that's got to be something. So just why you've got it up in the background. That
Yes.
must have felt
Yeah,
really
it was so special, genuinely really special.
good. Yeah.
And I hadn't even thought I was gonna get it either, and that's the other moment was they were reading out, like, summaries of all the nominees, and when she was reading out mine, she was talking about, like, Find Your Awesome, HR Geek Squad, blah, 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 and I genuinely was like, I've made those. Like, I invented those, and she's talking about them on the stage. That's so weird. Like, it just was such a strange moment, but just a really lovely one where
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh wow!" And I think that was probably the first time that I realised something I had like created was in the world. Like, I think in your own little bubble from your office at home with the slippers on, like you don't think about like how it's a real thing that people appreciate. It's just
Yeah.
me mucking about at home. Until that point, I was like, "Oh wow, okay, now it is a real thing. How cool is that?"
Yeah. It's like, I
So
mean,
yeah, very strange.
I don't have anywhere near your level of notoriety.
Infamy.
Infamy. But I think if I meet someone at an event and they follow me and they tell me that they love my content, or they'll message me and say that,
Yes.
that post that and I've had people say to me, message me and say that post that you put out, like really, really spoke to me, or just, I really needed that today. Thank you. I had one of those yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
And that just, because creating content takes time, and I post every single day.
Same. Yeah.
And it does take time to manage all of this and invest in it, and keep coming up with ideas and stuff, and some of them fall really flat, and then others go absolutely fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but those people that come in and say, I needed that today, you've really helped me, that just made such a difference, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
that's exactly why. It just makes all of it worth it. And I'm like, what else can
Yeah.
I do for you? What else can I do to help? Let me give you all
Yeah.
my time.
Have some free things.
Yeah, that was a free stuff. Yeah. There might be
Yeah,
something
I
in
totally get
there.
that.
Might want to talk to my therapist about that.
Hmm.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my biggest ones, as you know, I post a lot about like mental health as well. And every now and again, I'll do a post called like Post Your Pills, where I'll talk about the medication that I'm on and how it helped me and all that good stuff with a
Yeah.
mental health kind of bent to it. And whenever I do that, I get the loveliest direct messages where people will say, I'm not brave enough to comment yet, but please know that you've made me feel much more, accepting of taking meds, and your posts like yours really help, and I appreciate being able to talk about it. All of that stuff that as you say, that one message every couple of months just makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh
Yeah.
my word, a human being has seen something and it's helped, and that's all you want to do, isn't it? When you're a content
Yeah.
creator, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. And like you say, when you're talking about difficult topics, people won't always engage on the
Yeah.
content itself, because so it can feel like no one's listening. So getting those
Hmm.
messages from people, just lets you know that they're watching, they're seeing it, it's impacting. And
Yeah.
it's like, keep going. I think I put a post out a few months ago. I think it was actually one of the first posts that I put out that went proper bonkers.
Mm.
And that kick-started all of the corporate hangover work that I've been doing. So actually, it was probably about, I say the other month, it was probably about 6 months ago now. And I talked about what it was like to be a woman in corporate, and I listed some of the
Mm.
experiences that I'd had. And I think I put it out, and obviously I've got some comments on the post itself, a lot of comments on the post itself. But I think I had the most DMs that I've ever received in one day,
Yeah.
from women saying, I'm still in it. I've experienced so much of this. I don't, it's just that, thank you so much for sharing this. I don't feel as alone. And, and I got on
Yeah.
calls with almost all of those women and talked to them about where they were at. Because I think sometimes it's so important, isn't it, just to be reminded that the thing we're going through isn't right. And it's also
Yeah.
not just us. So yeah, things like whenever that happens, and I was like, right, okay, I'm leading into this now. Then I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about this. I'm going to talk more about how I got past it, how I was able to, sort of push all of that out, and just keep reminding these women that they're not alone. So
Mm.
it's so important, to have impact with what we're doing. So
Yeah. And just having people feel seen is
yeah,
like amazing, isn't it? Like helping people to feel seen and heard is just the best thing ever. Like that's proper like resonating feels. I love that.
yeah.
That's just so important.
Yeah, because it is lonely, especially if you're going
Mm,
through something difficult and you can end up feeling like you're the only person in the whole world. That when you even just reading a comment or a post from somebody else that's going through the same thing, it's like you just immediately feel lighter, immediately feel better.
yeah,
It is so
yeah,
important.
yeah, massive.
So on the flip side, because obviously you get a lot of engagement and you are out there and you are a woman, and those things together um, tend to attract some negativity. Do you get
Uh,
yeah? So A, do you get much of that on your posts? And if you do, what's your favorite way of dealing with it?
there was one that was particularly vicious, who, of all days, on International Women's Day, was basically attacking me and women in the comments
Mm,
about the way we were talking, which was not inappropriate, by the way, but he just decided that it
didn't
was
like
something that
it.
he didn't like. Yeah. And I initially went back and forth, had a conversation back and forth in the comments, and then I literally just did one more comment. And I was like, I don't know why on today of all days you have decided that this is the day you want women to defend themselves to you on your opinion. Please leave my comments and never return. And he didn't come back on the comments, but he did DM me and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I tend to get a bit overexcited. I'm really sorry." And then said, "I've deleted the comments because I don't want to take away from your energy on this day." So I was like, "It's okay. I've screenshotted them for safety."
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it does happen. I tend to
Yeah,
respond with sass. Sass is how I
yeah.
tend to respond, or a block, a healthy block.
Yeah, I think I start with sass, and if they get aggressive or they just start annoying me because they just start,
Yeah,
then it's like another comment, and it's in my notifications. I'm like, no, I'm just going to block you
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Good faith. When people leave comments in good faith that just disagree with
That's
me,
different. Yeah,
that's very
yeah,
different. But those people that just comment something really sexist and obviously
yeah.
out of order and rude. I like to screenshot them and then I'll make a video about the about post. I did one a couple of weeks ago. This guy Bob was just leaving just shit comments,
Yeah.
and so I did a screenshot and I did a little video about don't be like Bob. Um,
Ah,
and actually, do you know what I did? I put out. I created a fake new offer, which is if somebody leaves something really horrendous on your post, just don't reply, just tag my name underneath, and I will swoop in and hurt their feelings. I love it.
I love this. I
Yeah.
have created, particularly, this is particularly for pitch slaps, but I have created, you've probably seen me spamming it all over LinkedIn. But whenever I see anybody post about how annoyed they are about pitch slaps, I literally gift them this little image that I've made, which is me doing this. With a definition, a dictionary definition that I have written about pitch slap, and I do often send that to people when I get those awful pitch slap DMs. I will
Yeah.
just send them that image and say, "You have 15 seconds to remove this connection before it self destructs," like stuff like that. Because I'm like, "Oh, you obviously have not been on my page. You're clearly a knobber. Like, get out."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all get them, don't we? So many. And so many of them automated as well. So the second you hit that send button,
Yes.
there they go, and you go
Yeah.
immediately no, immediately remove. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
today. Yeah. Which is one
Just
kind.
cleanse them.
Yeah.
Cleanse them.
Oh, I like this. It's a much better word, isn't it? Cleanse. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cleanse. I call it a cull.
Yeah.
Yes. Cleanse or
I
cull.
enjoy the threat of that. Yeah, I
Whatever
enjoy the
you feel
threat of
better
that.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I think part of it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not, when it comes to me, I spend most of my days being like so nice to people, and I love that,
Yes.
and showering them with compliments and gushing at them, and just giving them all this gorgeous energy. But I do have this little part of me that's like likes to be a little bit mean. I mean, I grew up in the '90s. Our banter was we needed to hurt each other's feelings as much as possible. Um, and so I still have this little part of me. So these are so I don't mind if
Mm,
people want to come into my comments and leave shit remarks because I'm like,
I
I
love
get
that.
to
Bring it.
indulge
Yeah.
her and go be mean to them. I'm like, go on then. And I'm deadly
I love that
serious
you
as
can like
well.
invoke your inner 90s mean girl. Like,
Yeah,
bring it.
yeah, bring it. She's ready. Yeah.
I
She's cut
love
her
that.
teeth.
I
She's
love
done.
that. That is
Um,
it now. Anytime I get one, I'm tagging you in. That's the
oh,
rules.
please do, because it was actually genuine. Like I do want to. Especially for especially
Doing it.
there's so many women that would crush them to get that.
Yes.
Especially that they're quite new and not yet developed that thick skin. So I'm like, don't even try and
Yes.
respond to them. I'll do it.
Yeah, love it.
Talk to me.
Love that.
I'll
What a
talk back.
gift to the world.
I think so. Could end up being my most popular service.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Oh, we are running out of time. Do we have
Boo!
any questions?
I can see Louise. Hi, Louise.
Hi,
Has said, my
Louise.
best pals have the most vicious banter, tear-inducing in the right way. Oh,
Yeah,
your
you
friends
can't go
sound
in
like my
hard on your
friends.
friends. Yeah, yeah. And also,
Love
you
it.
know their
Love
weakness.
it.
You know the thing that's going to get to them,
Mhm.
so you can go in for the kill.
Mhm.
You do have to be careful, make sure that they're not PMSing or anything, or perimenopausal, because that's nobody wants. But yes, vicious is good.
Love it.
I
Love
think it's
it.
a very British thing, isn't it, to show our love for each other by
Yes.
being really nasty.
Tearing people down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it is. It is a
I
British
see
thing.
I see Americans making videos about it, and they're like, "Do these people even like each other? They're supposed to
Yeah. And they're like, "Why would you say that?"
be."
Because it's hilarious, that's
Yeah,
why.
it's funny. Um, okay, so let me see. We can wrap this up. So tell us a little bit about what does the future look like for People Sorted and for Michelle Hartley?
Oosh.
Sorry, that
Oosh.
was a big
What a
question.
question. Oof. There's gonna be more joy to follow. There's gonna be more things to bin. I am doing a geek meet in September, so that's currently taking up a lot of my headspace. So I'm doing the Great Geek Together, I'm calling it. So all
Is
of the
that only
geeks
HR
coming
people?
in.
Is that only HR? Do you have
It's
to be in HR to go?
sort of. Yeah, not really. Like, so I'm opening it
You get a
up
little bit
mainly
of
to the
FOMO.
Geek Squad. Oh, you should come. You should definitely come. So mostly it's going to be opened up to the Geek Squad. They'll get first refusal on the ticks.
Yeah,
But then I will have a limited number of open tickets that I'll chuck out onto LinkedIn to the world. So yes, you don't have to be in HR to come. You could just come and enjoy
brilliant.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I feel like
So
I
yeah,
should
that's as far into the future as I can see. So what's that? 3 months?
do it. So it's just
That'll do.
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, more of the same, more fun. Just keep enjoying it. See what comes my way. It's quite good,
Brilliant.
really. It's quite nice to be like that. I like
Yeah.
it.
Is there anything while you're on? Is there anything that you want to talk about, plug that's coming up?
Why? This is why I'm really bad at sales because I haven't even thought about this. No. I do have. My Find Your Awesome Business Partner program will have a new intake in September as well. So that will be something coming. So if you don't
Awesome.
follow that page, give the page a follow, or you can get onto my wait list on the link in my profile if you like.
That's brilliant.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me, Michelle. It's been an absolute
It's
blast.
been a scream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we need
given
to
that
do it
we
again.
no prep for this whatsoever, it's actually been quite. Just to let everyone know,
It's been great.
yeah, just booked it and showed up. It's been brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we smashed it. High five, friend.
we did.